The story of the film is based in 1947. We see Hercule Poirot, now a retired detective, living a peaceful life in Venice. Though many seek his help, he's no longer interested in solving cases. He's protected by his ex-police bodyguard, Vitale Portfoglio, who keeps people at bay. One day, Vitale informs him that a woman claiming to be an old friend has come to meet him. She gives Poirot an apple to help him recognize her. Poirot does recognize her, and in the next scene, we see the woman sitting with him. Her name is Ariadne, a well-known novelist and mystery writer. Bestsellers, 27 of 30 books. The last 3 didn't do so well. Ariadne offers Poirot a case, but he refuses. She insists, saying she's encountered something she can't explain involving Joyce Reynolds, a spiritualist recently released from prison, and the last woman jailed under the Witchcraft Act of 1735. She says she's seen countless fake psychics, but Reynolds' seance felt different. Poirot dismisses it as trick, but Ariadne urges him to investigate, saying, "If you don't burst this bubble, I might start believing." She invites him to a Halloween party for orphans, followed by a seance. Later, Poirot and Ariadne arrive at the Halloween party, held at the palazzo of opera singer Rowena Drake. A puppet show is performed for the children, recounting a dark tale. Long ago, this palazzo was an orphanage. Good doctors and good nurses took care of good children, until a plague. Plague make people afraid and fear make them do terrible things. The children soon realized they were alone, locked inside to die. Starving, calling, clawing. Some say the children are still hiding in this palazzo, and they want more children to join them, for they want revenge on the doctors and nurses who left them here to die. Watch out for the mark of the children's vendetta. The party begins. We meet Olga, Rowena's housekeeper, and a fan of Ariadne's writing. Poirot notices a framed photo of a young girl. Ariadne tells him that those who live here claim to see children's shadow and feel a creeping darkness like what happened to Rowena's daughter a year ago. That's why Rowena invited Joyce Reynolds tonight, to contact her daughter's spirit. We are then introduced to Dr. Leslie Ferrier, Rowena's unwell family doctor, and his intelligent young son, Leopold. Leslie briefly sees a child running upstairs. Meanwhile, Poirot compliments the palazzo, and Rowena replies that he can have it if he wants. She can't afford repairs and can't bear to live there since Alicia's death. No one will buy it, not after what happened. Poirot asks if Rowena truly believes in psychics. She says she never did until this house. It whispers, sobs, and holds voices. Her daughter used to talk at night, and she assumed it was to her dolls. To hear her voice again, even a word, I would give Miss Reynolds everything I have. Reynolds arrives wearing a mask, accompanied by her assistant, Desdemona. She looks around and unmasks. She comments on the noise and disturbing energy and correctly guesses that Alicia's room is on the 3rd floor, leaving Rowena stunned. Reynolds suggests they hold the seance there. Later, Poirot and Reynolds are seen talking. She claims she can speak to the dead. She recognizes Poirot and asks if she's his next case. He says he no longer takes cases. Reynolds taunts, "But you are here to discredit me. Isn't that why Ariadne brought you here?" Reynolds asks Poirot if he believes in life after death. Poirot says he no longer has faith. He has seen too much, 2 wars, countless crimes, and the cruelty of human indifference. His conclusion is no ghosts, no God, and no mediums who speak to them. Just then, a chandelier crashes to the floor. Reynolds taunts, "You were saying?" After a while, the palazzo is vacated to prepare for the seance. A storm brews outside as Olga leads everyone to Alicia's room. Poirot asks how Alicia died. Olga says, "The balcony, the canal, she drowned." When Poirot suggests it was suicide, Olga firmly insists the spirits pushed her. As they reach Alicia's room, Poirot asks who's been inside tonight. Olga says no one. She has the only key and only enters to dust and check on Harry, Alicia's pet cockatoo. She mentions Harry used to talk before Alicia died. Then Rowena enters as Olga explains Alicia and Rowena were inseparable, always traveling for the opera. This palazzo was their sanctuary. She grew so beautiful. Then she met her chef Maxime. They were engaged so fast. Then she and Maxime quarreled. She moved back here to the palazzo. That's when she started to see the children. They wanted her for themselves. She suffered her last weeks in that bed seeing things. Shadows. They drove her mad. Mrs. Rowena didn't leave her side, begging the spirits to let her be. They didn't. They left the mark of the children's vendetta. The police said the cuts were from the fall. Now Reynolds want to disturb Alicia's soul. And this is not right. This is against nature and the Lord. Somebody will have to pay. Reynolds picks up a soft toy and says, "Baba?" Rowena replies, "Yes, Baba the rabbit." Suddenly, a bulb bursts. Maxime appears at the palazzo, claiming he was invited, but Rowena denies it. He's now engaged to a wealthy woman. The seance begins. Reynolds brings a typewriter saying, "Voices speak," and I take dictation. Leopold joins and claims the ghosts told him. Reynolds is a fraud. Reynolds warns no one to touch her during the trance. She calls out, "Alicia, are you here?" The typewriter types Y, signaling a yes. Everyone is stunned. Reynolds asks, "Did someone hurt you?" It types Y again. Poirot then reveals Nicholas, Reynolds' second assistant and Desdemona's half-brother, hiding in the chimney. He exposes a magnetic switch controlling the typewriter and declares the seance fake. Suddenly, Reynolds' chair spins. She appears possessed and growls. Then she speaks in Alicia's voice. "Mama, thirsty." Rowena is shaken. Reynolds continues, "Why did you leave me? I didn't want to die." Reynolds, back in her own voice, says, "Alicia is showing me. She was on the balcony, not alone. She didn't jump." Then, in Alicia's voice, she screams, "Murderer! You killed me!" The chair spins wildly as she points at everyone. Suddenly, a door bursts open. The typewriter types M and the seance ends. Later, everyone discusses the seance. Some believe it was supernatural. Others dismiss it as nonsense. Ariadne asks Poirot for his opinion. He insists it was a trick, saying he can't yet explain it all, but he will. Ariadne is thrilled. She might finally write a novel where Poirot fails.
You're still watching? Good. Like, comment and subscribe to Recapss Horror.
Then Reynolds asks if Poirot will return, as Rowena wants to continue the seance. Poirot tells Vitali to arrange a boat to leave. Reynolds and Poirot then argue. He calls her a fraud. While she claims to see ghosts from her time as a war nurse, he accuses her of tormenting a grieving mother. She replies, "I saw a murder." He asks, "Did you see the killer?" She says, "Not yet. Maybe tomorrow." She mentions Poirot's late partner. Hearing this, Poirot is shocked. How does she know about that? She then puts her mask and cloak on him. As he walks the palazzo with her mask on, he is attacked and nearly drowned. Vital arrives just in time and saves him. As Poirot explains what happened, a sudden scream echoes. Reynolds falls from the balcony, impaled on a statue below. Everyone rushes out. Shock ripples through the group. Vital calls his old station to know who is on the duty. Everyone speculates about Reynolds' sudden death. Some say she jumped. Others blame the children's spirits, recalling the legend that their ghosts target doctors and nurses. Vitali announces that the storm has made it impossible to leave by boat. Olga is hesitant to stay the night in the palazzo. Poirot locks the doors and declares Reynolds claimed to see a murder. Now she's dead. One of you felt her gaze, killed her, and tried to kill me. The killer is among us. Tell the police. Hercule Poirot is on the case. Poirot begins his investigation and asks Ariadne to assist him. Ariadne finds Baba the rabbit buried under a pile of paintings. Poirot questions Rowena about her whereabouts during Reynolds' death. She claims she was in the music room at midnight. When Poirot asks what lies above the balcony, Rowena takes him to the garden, Alicia's favorite spot, and their secret hideaway. They used to harvest honey there, and Alicia would tease her for her efforts for a teaspoon for wildflower honey. Rowena reveals she loved Alicia deeply and had turned down every marriage proposal for herself, but Alicia said yes to her first. Chef Maxime Gerard. When Alicia got engaged, she says, "I tore out every flower in this garden and left for Turkey. He found out I wasn't wealthy and left Alicia for someone else. It was one of the best days of my life." But soon after, Alicia fell ill and never recovered. Poirot and Ariadne leave in silence. They then question Olga. She believes the house is haunted. Poirot asks where she was during Reynolds' death. She says she was in the music room with Rowena. Olga reveals she was once a nun, but left after falling in love. Just then, Poirot hears a girl singing in the distance. He turns to Olga and asks, "If you fear the dark arts, why did you attend the seance?" She says, "There is only God to whom I am answerable." He then notices water trickling down the opposite wall, but when he checks, it's completely dry. He asks, "What was your saint's name when you were a nun?" Olga replies softly, "Maria." Poirot and Ariadne next interrogate the family doctor, Leslie, a traumatized army medic who failed to save soldiers during World War II and was treating Alicia during her illness. Poirot suspects he's in love with Rowena. Suddenly, Poirot hears a girl singing in the distance again. Ignoring it, he asks Leslie if Alicia could have been murdered. Leslie replies that Alicia told him the children were taunting her, but he dismissed it as heartbreak. "She needed help," he says. "I gave her sedatives. A loony like me should have known." Poirot stops the interrogation and goes to the washroom, his hands shivering. The tap is dry. As he checks the tap, he sees Alicia's reflection behind him, and when he turns, there is no one. Suddenly, hot water gushes out. He shuts it off and finds Leopold, Leslie's son, outside. "My father isn't tired, he's broken," Leopold says. "He was with me in the kitchen at midnight, waiting for Miss Rowena." Reynolds' assistants were there too. He notes the taps are running. Poirot closes them. Feeling unwell, Poirot admits something is off. Leopold calmly replies, "You're feeling voices. It's Halloween. The dead are as close as they can be." Poirot then questions Nicholas and Desdemona separately. They're from a poor village, once starving and stealing to survive. They claim they were in the kitchen at midnight with Leopold. They've worked under Reynolds for over a year and haven't gone hungry since. They admit the seances were staged. Suddenly, Desdemona tries to flee. She punches Nicholas and runs, but Olga catches her. The two are tied up. Poirot once again hears the singing girl. He asks if anyone else hears it. Only Leopold confirms. Then the phone rings. But when Vitale answers, the line is dead. When Poirot checks, he spots a girl's shadow and runs after her, following her voice. Just then, Harry startles him. Poirot says, "You can come out." A young girl appears. He gently asks if she came with the other children and if she's been hiding. She nods. "Did you hear the woman fall?" She nods again. "Did someone push her?" Before she can answer, Ariadne interrupts, and the girl vanishes. A loud noise echoes through the house. Everyone gathers. Poirot figures out the sound is coming from basement. Rowena insists there is no basement, but Poirot discovers a secret entrance to basement, likely where orphan children were once locked. Inside, he sees a shadow. Vitale reveals it's just the storm waves hitting below, but Poirot feels something haunting, as if the house itself is alive. Tensions rise as Leslie suffers a breakdown and attacks Maxime. He nearly kills him, but Leopold intervenes just in time and calms him down. They take Leslie to Rowena's music room, which she mentions is soundproof. She suggests he can rest there, locks the room for safety, and hands the key to Poirot. Later, Poirot questions Maxime, who insists Alicia was mentally ill. She needed a proper doctor. As he speaks, he cuts his hand. Ariadne tells him to apply honey, but he realizes it's not wildflower. Then a torn photo of Alicia falls from his pocket. He explains Alicia tore it the night he ended things. Not for money, but because of her toxic attachment to her mother Rowena. Rowena didn't know how to be alone. She tore up the garden out of spite and left. Alicia felt guilty and tried chasing her around the world. That's when he realized he would never be her priority. He says he returned to Venice to fix things, but Rowena kept him away. Poirot asks to see his invitation. Poirot notices that the note is clean, typewritten, and anonymous. As he examines it further, he spots the word apple hidden within the message and suddenly collapses. Ariadne takes Poirot outside for fresh air and asks Vitale to bring a chair. Poirot thanks Ariadne for being a true friend. As Vitale brings a chair, Poirot invites him to sit. He starts questioning him and asks how Vitale became a policeman. Vitale says, "Family business," then admits he retired early as he felt this profession wasn't for him. Poirot confronts him. You lied about never being here. You knew exactly where the hidden phone was. Vitale says the case was a spectacle, and he wanted to protect the family's privacy. Poirot reveals that Vitale was the officer on duty when Alicia was found dead and retired the next day. Poirot adds, "Then you became my bodyguard. You never let anyone near, except this morning, when you asked about the woman with the apples." He then reveals the truth. Ariadne and Vitale were working together, and perhaps Reynolds was involved with them too. Vitale gave her all the details from Alicia's case, which Ariadne shared with Reynolds. The seance, the missing rabbit, and the ghostly setup were staged to make Poirot believe the impossible or deceive him. Fame for Reynolds, a percentage to Vitale, and a bestseller story for Ariadne, who wanted to write a bestseller on how she fooled Poirot. Ariadne was the one who sent the invitation to Maxime for the drama in her story. Ariadne says, "I got 3 flops. I needed a win." Poirot says, "We were friends." She replies, "You don't have friends. You have admirers, and that too because of me. I wrote you up as a genius. Why shouldn't I use you to sell books?" Poirot asks if she killed Reynolds. She and Vitale deny it. Just then, they discover Leslie dead in the music room. Everyone is shocked and begins questioning who the killer might be. Rowena mutters, "A nurse and a doctor. The children's vendetta." Vitale points out the room has only one entrance, and it was locked. No one is safe here. In fear, everyone leaves. Olga then explains why she stayed during the seance. Alicia had been wasting away, descending into madness. Miss Rowena never left her side. One day, Olga urged her to rest and promised to watch over Alicia. Around midnight, Olga heard footsteps and voices. Alicia had been sleeping deeply, but must have woken after Olga left. She likely wandered to the balcony. Poirot says, "And now you beg her ghost's forgiveness?" Olga replies, "I loved her. She died because I was stupid and afraid." Poirot then notices a photo of a young Alicia in the garden, above the balcony. She's the same girl he had seen earlier. He goes to Alicia's room, where her voice echoes around him. A mirror shatters, a cup falls, and he discovers a torn photo of Maxime. He stops everyone from leaving and reveals the truth. Alicia, Leslie, and Reynolds weren't killed by spirits or suicide, but by a person among them. The murderer of Alicia is her own mother, Rowena. She killed her daughter, then killed twice more to hide her crime. Poirot says Rowena couldn't bear to lose Alicia. In a rage, she destroyed her garden of rainbow flowers, but later replanted only one color, the one that could give her back what she couldn't live without. Poirot reveals he had been hallucinating all night due to a drug. He had been poisoned with a hallucinogen found in the nectar of Rhododendron ponticum, concentrated in honey. In Turkey, it's called Deli Bal. Rowena had traveled there alone. Just a teaspoon causes fever, weakness, hallucinations. Alicia was not possessed. She was poisoned by a mother who could not let her go, who lovingly spoon-fed controlled doses of poison honey in her tea, keeping her just sick enough to prevent a reunion with her repentant love. Weak, helpless like a child again. But one night, Olga watched over Alicia and, in trying to calm her, unknowingly added too much honey to the tea. Alicia overdosed and died in her sleep. Rowena returned from her rest and found Alicia dead, and then she made her monstrous choice. She made a mark of the children's vendetta and threw her into the canal and made her a suicide. Blinded by love, the doctors saw nothing wrong, and the police blamed superstition. But someone knew the truth and began blackmailing Rowena, draining her wealth. Desperate and trapped, Rowena suspected Leslie. Perhaps he recognized the signs of poisoning. Then she got a letter from Miss Reynolds, claiming to receive messages from Alicia, full of personal details. Convinced Reynolds was the blackmailer, she decided both Reynolds and Leslie had to die. The seance was a cover for murder. At midnight, Rowena attacked Poirot, mistaking him for Reynolds in disguise, then killed Reynolds and threw her from the balcony. Rowena insists she was with Olga at midnight. Olga confirms it. But Poirot reveals Olga was waiting in the soundproof music room where Rowena had set the clock to the wrong time. So Olga never heard the real midnight bell. Vitale asks, "What about Leslie?" Rowena wasn't near him. Poirot explains, After locking Leslie in, she gave Poirot the key. The external lines were down due to the storm, but the internal phone still worked. She called Leslie from the dining room, confessed to murdering Reynolds and staging Alicia's suicide, and threatened to kill his son unless Leslie took his own life. When Poirot finishes, Rowena flees. He chases her to the balcony. She says, "I couldn't let her go." Then, Alicia's ghost appears behind her. Poirot watches as the spirit seems to pull Rowena into the canal. She falls, drowns, and dies. Later, Maxime thanks Poirot for giving peace to Alicia's soul. Police is seen taking dead bodies of Rowena, Reynolds, and Leslie. Poirot fires Vitale. But one question remains unanswered is who was actually blackmailing Rowena. It was Leopold. Being the smart kid, he had read the medical reports, figured out the reason of Alicia's death, and blackmailed Rowena to get money for his father's treatment. He says that he don't even know what to do with the rest. He wasn't evil, just desperate. Olga decides to adopt Leopold. Nicholas and Desdemona plan to go to America to survive, and Olga chooses to help them using the blackmail money. In the end, everything is resolved. Poirot breaks friendship with Ariadne and begins taking cases again. But one final mystery remains. Was Rowena pulled by Alicia's ghost, or was it just a hallucination? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the chills, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a scare. Until next time, stay spooky.